Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of my Musical Moments series. Today, it is the end of the year. It is the end of the holidays. Thanksgiving, gone. Christmas, gone. Boxing Day for you crazy Commonwealth. There's also gone. All that's left of the year in our wonderful holiday season is New Year's Eve. So today we are talking about music, songs specifically, that are about New Year's, but not about Christmas. So yeah, there's lots of happy holidays. Doesn't qualify because it talks about Christmas as well. Today we are only talking about songs that are specifically refer to New Year's or have a specific New Year's theme. We're starting with a very obvious choice. Frank Loesser, 1947, I think, his song, What Are You Doing New Year's Eve? This has become something of a standard. You know, like 15 or 20 years ago, very few people actually knew this song. But because a few recordings, especially Michael Bublé and a few other people, that's who you're hearing right now, this song has become a bit more of a standard, and we do hear it a bit more regularly this time of year. However, what's interesting about it is it wasn't meant to be a New Year's song. Even with the title, What Are You Doing New Year's Eve? No, Frank Loesser always said, no, the whole point of it, the very first line of the song says, maybe it's much too early to ask you what are you doing New Year's Eve, meaning it was supposed to be like in June, and he's saying, I'm so like totally in love with you that I'm already trying to book you for New Year's, even though it's way, way, way too early. So the idea for him that people did the song over the actual holiday season seemed kind of like pointless, because they're like, wait, the song isn't supposed to be sung on New Year's. It's supposed to be sung way too early for New Year's, hence the lyrics. Kind of interesting, right? Now, the next song that we're going to talk about is a song by the one, the only Barry Manilow. This song was actually written in 1977 and for a live album that he was going to do. And he thought, you know, I want to do this New Year's Eve song. And the story goes that he wrote the song on Monday, it was orchestrated on Tuesday, and recorded on Wednesday. And you can find this on his live album from 1977. But, you know, the version of it that for me really resonates, that I think is so great, was actually recorded for his much later album in 1990, his Christmas album, which was called Because It's Christmas. And if you happen to have the original LP, it is not on there. It didn't make the original cut. But in the extended version, which you can get digitally, etc., you do actually get to hear this song called Another New Year's Eve. And it sort of captures this really wistful and almost melancholic sort of distance about it, which I find just to be absolutely lovely. It's really, really beautiful. You're hearing just a little bit of it here, and I think he just nails the style, and it's a really beautiful song, and Barry Manilow actually sang it now live many, many years. He's been doing it for various New Year's television specials and things like this, and I think that speaks to the quality of the song, because it's not this big sort of Kool and the Gang celebration kind of New Year's song. Because it's kind of wistful, you'd think, oh, it's not going to fit for those kind of big celebratory things. But I think because the song itself is just so good, it actually works for this. And really clever, in the middle of the song, in one of the little air spaces, he actually quotes Auld Lang Syne. And speaking of, I will not be talking about Auld Lang Syne today because I did an entire video of Auld Lang Syne. You can check it out right there. Go check out that video after you watch this one. So the next song that we're going to talk about is a song by John Lennon. We're jumping way ahead to 1980. This is actually part of a double album that John Lennon released. It was the last studio album that he released, and he had taken 5 years off. So in 1975, he retired from the recording business and took 5 years off, but then came back and released this wonderful double album. Actually, he was tragically shot soon after the release of this, and but he was the one who insisted that this particular song, Just Like Starting Over, be the first single released from it. Not because he actually thought it was the best song, but he actually liked it the most, and he has said that, you know, when I recorded that song, that has this hopeful and optimistic quality of it, and definitely looking at this idea of the new year, he said, I basically did an Elvis and Roy Orbison impersonation when I recorded the song. So he wasn't trying to sing as himself, he was actually kind of impersonating those two singers when he recorded the song, which I think makes a nice little story. And now when I read that, I kind of went back and listened, I thought, oh my gosh, he kind of is doing that. kind of interesting and certainly a fun little story. So the next song that we're going to talk about is actually by an artist named Regina Spektor. She is a New York-based, fantastic musician, and this song is called New Year. Now, this song is not a song that I knew terribly well, but I came across it recently because this year I'm actually doing a show with Darren Criss, the singer, with the San Francisco Symphony on New Year's, and he was putting some things together from his relatively new Christmas album, which just came out, and he records the song on there, so we're going to be doing it with the San Francisco Symphony in just a couple of weeks here, and excited about that performance, of course, but gave me the chance to get to know the song as we were putting together an orchestration, an arrangement, etc., which sounds just fantastic, but gosh, there's a wonderful quality about this song. It's really the story of a single woman, and she's been sleeping, but she sets the alarm for 5 minutes to midnight. So she wakes up, kind of wraps herself in a blanket and goes to the window, and she's in New York City, and she talks about how you can hear the roar at midnight as they count down. The song actually counts down from 10 to midnight, and those last 10 seconds, and you can hear the roar moving up the city, starting in Times Square and moving toward her apartment as people are all cheering. But again, it has this incredible sort of sadness to it, and it brought to mind this idea, Joni Mitchell used to talk about writing songs that have this comfort in melancholy, and I think this song, and kind of that Barry Manilow song I mentioned earlier, this sort of peace and this comfort in melancholy, this incredible quality that it's not sad, it's not that. There's even a great line in the song, which is probably my favorite part. There's a line where she says, you thank the previous year for all the good things that happen, but you don't blame it for any of the bad. And I just think that's a fantastic lyric, just beautiful, and the whole song, absolutely lovely. And there's a wonderful little mixed meter thing, kind of a music theory joke that's in there that somehow just feels perfectly natural, and I just think it's a beautiful arrangement, and it's a beautiful song by an incredible artist, Regina Spektor. As I said, looking forward to hearing Darren do this song with us on New Year's Eve here this year with the San Francisco Symphony. There's my name drop. Boom! There it is. Whatever, I can't help it. But the concert's coming up. It's going to be fun. Sticking with Regina Spektor, quite maybe tangentially, but now we're going to look at a song called My Dear Acquaintance. And this is another song which has started to make the rounds. This is actually Peggy Lee. And the song was originally written in 1983 when Peggy Lee was writing a Broadway musical about her life, which was supposed to be called Peg. The show was not a success, and I know the song was cut from it, but I believe it was cut even before the show opened, so it was actually never heard. But she recorded it as part of a little demo for the music from the show. No one heard this song because it was cut, it kind of disappeared. But then in 2006, her demo of the song, My Dear Acquaintance, was released. And it very quickly caught some other artists' attention because there is just this incredible quality about this. Again, this melancholy, this lovely thanking you, and it's just kind of, it definitely has this Auld Lang Syne quality of reaching out and connecting with friends, and I'm just so glad to have you in my life, part of my extended family. The feel of it, the mood that it creates, the vibe is incredibly special and wonderful. And actually Regina Spektor, she heard this song, and almost immediately, just the very next year, she recorded it in 2007 because she thought it was such a wonderful song too. So her recording of it was really the first one that made the rounds and got a lot of attention. This is Regina Spektor, even though the previous year they finally released 23 years later, that original version of Peggy Lee. Of course, Peggy Lee, an absolute legend, one of the greatest singers of all time, and an incredible writer. She worked with a composer, but she wrote the lyrics to this song herself. It's really very, very special. So that's a wonderful song. I hope that you will check it out. Now, as we wrap up, there are 3 quick songs that I'm going to mention. I'm not going to spend quite as much time talking about each of them, but there are still artists writing songs about New Year's here. The first is called New Memories by Dubvision and Afrojack. Fantastic song. There's a Tori Amos song, which, again, it's one of those things that just, the vibe and the feel of it is just so fantastic. It is actually called Our New Year. Yeah, really great song. And then, of course, New Year's Day by the one and only Taylor Swift. She is actually fantastic. And this, what I love about this is the morning after song. So this is not a New Year's Eve song, but this is a morning after song. Again, New Year's Day. And the piano, it has this kind of lo-fi sound on this recording. And she does it by addressing, actually, adjusting the attack of the sample in there in the piano, and it gives us this sort of really special quality. These are 3 songs that have really distinct vibes to them. I think those are definitely worth checking out, as well as those things that I dug into a little more closely. So great songs about New Year's. Again, none of them are about Christmas specifically, so these are dedicated songs, definitely appropriate for New Year's. And there's lots of great party time, celebration, and party like it's 1999. Like, there are so many wonderful songs like that. But I wanted to go a little deeper than that. So nice to be with you once again. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. I definitely have had a great turnout with my holiday videos, which we have already been chatting about in the last couple of weeks. Best Christmas songs, check those out. And even more popular, what does that say about you that even more popular than my best Christmas songs are worst Christmas songs? We're so cynical. We're so cynical. But definitely check out both those videos if you haven't already, as we look ahead to the new year and some new videos coming your way. So thanks very much. We'll see you soon.
We can be free.